Hello, world, and hello, Philippines. Today is another day, and of course, we're going to have a new lesson video. We're going to discuss about media, cyber, and digital literacies. The importance of media, cyber, and digital literacies for students is becoming more and more apparent as technology continues to envelop the daily lives of both children and adults. From social interactions to entertainment, education to professional life, the ability to use technology effectively is now considered essential for modern advancement and successes. Here are the expected learning outcomes for this lesson. So at the end of the lesson or lecture video, students must have constructed a working understanding of media and cyber digital literacy and how they relate to one another. The second one is organize the importance of developing media and cyber digital literacy, both in ourselves and one another in the information age. The third one is generalize that practical steps must be taken to develop these literacies early in children and cannot wait until they are older. Number four is describe the types and examples of digital literacy that improve lives and lastly created graphic organizers and brochures related to media and cyber or digital literacies. I have here a text inside a box that says if we have to stop thinking of technology in terms of nouns, PowerPoint, for example, YouTube or Twitter, and instead think in terms of verbs like presenting, sharing, and communicating, what does this, of course, statement is all about? So it talks about, of course, the importance of having these apps and technologies that we can use in a process or action, meaning there is, of course, an output at the end. Like for PowerPoint, there is presentation and you use it for presenting something. For YouTube, you have, of course, sharing. And of course, in Twitter, there is, of course, communicating. Let's first define what is media literacy. When we say media literacy, it refers to individuals' capacity to be able to engage and with media messages in a constructive and critical way and to understand the influences media has on the world. And of course, the skills required include, of course, accessing media, analyzing, then evaluating and producing media. So first, of course, you're going to access, okay, for the information, then you need to analyze, then of course, you need to evaluate, and thus, of course, you need to produce. So useless if you are not going to, of course, produce another one or information. According to Boyd, in 2014, media literacy education began in the United States and, of course, the United Kingdom as a direct result of war propaganda in the 1930s and, of course, the rise of advertising in the 1960s. And in both cases, media was being used to manipulate the perspective and, of course, subsequent actions of those exposed to it, thereby, of course, giving rise to the need to educate people on how to detect the biases, falsehoods, and half-truths depicted on or in print, radio, and television. Take note, there is a need for people, okay, to be educated on how to detect biases, falsehoods, and half-truths depicted in print, radio, and television. The purpose of media literacy education is to foster media analysis in students by uncovering the constructed nature of media. And of course, media can take a variety of forms, including film, television, print media, newspapers, Okay, that includes, of course, newspapers, magazines, and of course, books. Okay, then radio, video games, online, and mobile media. That's according to Izwani in 2015. But sad to say that some probably students are not, of course, reading the print media. Okay, how could they read newspapers and magazines? Okay, if they can, of course, cannot read their own notes and books. So that's probably a big question. There is a question what media literacy, okay, is or not. So when we say, of course, media literacy is not, if number one, criticizing the media is not in and of itself, media, of course, literacy. However, being media literate sometimes requires that one indeed criticize what one sees and hears. So we need to, of course, have a constructive criticism of what we can see and, of course, what we can hear. The second one is teaching with media, okay, including, of course, videos, presentations, and etc. does not equal media literacy. So an education in media literacy must also include teaching about media. The third one, merely producing media is not media literacy, although part of being media literate is the ability to process media. The fourth one is that media literacy does not simply mean knowing what and what not to watch. It does mean watch carefully and critically. Again, I repeat, watch carefully and of course think critically. The fifth one is viewing media and analyzing it from a single perspective is not media literacy. So the true media literacy requires both the ability and willingness to view and analyze media from multiple positions and perspectives. So I would like to reiterate, true media literacy requires both the ability and willingness to view and analyze media from multiple positions and perspectives. So therefore, we need to have the different angles probably, no? Or there is the word switching. Supposing you are in that position, what would you feel? Okay, what would you do? And probably we are, of course, into the notion that we have, of course, different perspectives in life. Let's have these digital literacies. And of course, when we say digital literacies, okay, are of course the individual's capabilities to be able to effectually and sensibly function and execute in digital civilization or society. Take note, there are three important words here in the definition of the digital literacies. The first is effectually, okay. The second one is function, and the third is execute. So there is, of course, the need for us to perform well, okay, or to functions and, of course, execute in the society. And digital literacy was coined actually by Paul Gleiser in 1997. And this, of course, digital literacy is an offshoot, okay, from the discussion of the following concepts. The first one is, of course, visual literacy. So when we say, of course, visual literacy, we need to remember about images and nonverbal symbols that try to capture the knowledge. The second one is, of course, technology literacy. And this requires one to be able to use technology in addressing a need. Okay, the key word here is, of course, the use of technology in addressing a need. Okay, then we have, of course, computer literacy. It is the ability to use computers and related technology effectively. Other than that, of course, efficiently. So with a range of skills covering from the basic use to programming and, of course, advanced problem solving. So, of course, if you're going to look for a job, they're looking for computer literate. And then we have, of course, information literacy, which refers to the finding, evaluating, using, and of course, sharing of information. Take note, we do not just find and evaluate, but of course, we share, okay, or use and share information. Okay, let's have the following Okay, these are of course the digital literacies that we have. So the first is of course the communication and collaboration. So it talks about one's competences in being able to contribute or participate in the digital networks in the teaching and learning context. So take note, we need to of course communicate and of course collaborate. The second one is digital literacy that we have is of course digital scholarship. So this is being able to link and take part in professional and research practice. The third one is ICT literacy. This is knowing how to choose and use digital services, applications, or services to achieve tasks requiring the use of the internet. And number four is identity management, which is very important. So this is being able to understand how to guarantee safety and of course security in managing online and identity and foster a positive digital reputation. Okay, other of course digital literacies that we have, okay, is information literacy. This is about finding information from the web and of course interpreting while evaluating its legitimacy and validity in order that it can be shared. So take note of the word legitimate. So it should be legit and of course it should be valid. In other words, information, okay, should always be true, should be legit and of course valid. Then another digital literacy is learning skills. So this is about ways of knowing how to study and learn. Take note, knowing how to study and learn in a technology enriched environment by knowing how to utilize technology in addressing the need to learn efficiently. And then, of course, you have media literacy. It's one's ability to analytically read information or content and utilize multimedia and producing communication creatively. So that's, of course, media literacy. We have actually four C's of the 21st century skills, which are very important. So the four C's of the 21st century skills refer to critical thinking, creativity, communication, and collaboration. When we say, of course, critical thinking, it talks about learning how to solve problems by seeking the truth. Again, it is learning to solve problems by seeking the truth. Thus, it talks about critical thinking. The second one is about creativity. Okay, this is thinking out of the box and take pride in what, of course, is uniquely theirs. Okay, creativity encourages, of course, learners to think beyond the beliefs of convention. Okay, even if probably the others would not like your output, as long as, of course, it's your original work. Okay, who cares? Anyway, we cannot please everybody, but of course, we are trying to be creative. Then the third one is communication. So this is expressing the ideas in the clearest and organized manner. Take note, clearest and organized manner. We need to, of course, express our ideas. Okay, wherein, of course, our students, not just the students, but of course, the individuals can understand much better. Okay, then we have, of course, collaboration. This is knowing how to work well with others to achieve a given task or to resolve a problem at hand. Always remember, collaboration, okay, is really needed, particularly, of course, in accomplishing tasks easily, okay, and of course, fruitfully. So we need to collaborate. Again, these are the four C's that we have: critical thinking, creativity, communication, and collaboration. Other than that, of course, there are two additional C's, okay, and which are, of course, the citizenship and character. So when we say citizenship, it is known as the netizenship in the virtual world. Okay, and making the person consider how one performs or behaves accordingly by observing the norms and rules that are in accordance or harmony with what are sociably, practically, and of course, virtually acceptable. I like to reiterate again the word, okay, in accordance or harmony with what are, number one, sociably, okay, practically, and of course, virtually acceptable. So as a result of this, one is projecting a reputable digital identity, which is his or her character. Okay, and citizenship is being defined as the ability to consider issues and solve complex problems based on a deep understanding of diverse values and the worldview. And when we say, of course, character, These are, of course, traits like as grit, okay, or persistence, for example, tenacity, perseverance, and of course, resilience. So alongside a desire to make learning an integral part of course, living. So with us, of course, we have a good character. Let's have digital literacy skills versus, of course, digital literacy. So digital literacy skills are required in the digital or wired world. So these skills vary from text to images to multimedia. And we have 8 digital literacy skills needed to become digitally literate according to Link. These are, of course, cloud software, the collaboration, personal archiving, coding, information, evaluation, the screencasting, and of course, word processing software. Mind you, dear students and friends, these are actually uh, common already to you. However, of course, probably the words are not familiar. Let's discuss one by one. Okay, when we say, of course, cloud software, so the cloud is used to store everything from, of course, photos to research projects or term paper, and even, of course, music. So you are storing that in a cloud. This is essential part of document management. When we say, of course, coding, it is an universal language, which probably the basic understanding of HTML, the C or the C++, and the like will create a shared understanding of what can be done with a web page. Supposing you use HTML in creating web page. Then we have, of course, collaboration. This is the use of Google Docs, among others, allows learners to begin experimenting with effective online collaboration. So supposing there are, of course, there is a group, okay, for a research work, okay, and one member is, of course, to share the information through using, of course, Google Docs. So the rest, supposing that is a 5-member team or a group, all the 4 probably, of course, can have the editing, okay, of the work. And we have, of course, information evaluation. So this is the critical thinking to remove fake news. Okay, is a crucial in the 21st century. So we need to, of course, identify which news is true and, of course, which is not. Okay, so the tools and skills needed to process information are very much, of course, needed for information evaluation. Let's have the next. We have, of course, personal archiving. So learners should be taught the concepts of metadata, the tagging, the keywords, and categories to make them aware how they are, of course, represented online. So for example, a class is having a group picture. So we can, of course, have one camera to be used to take picture, and then that owner of the cam, okay, or phone, supposing, okay, will be posting the picture and everybody can be tagged. So it's the tagging or personal archiving. And even, of course, the use of the keywords now in searching and so on. Then we have, of course, screencasting. It is a screencast. A screencast rather is a video recording using, of course, the computer screen and usually includes an audio. So taking a picture on the screen of your computer is called print screen. Okay, so we are, of course, students are reminded to, of course, be careful and be aware that anything that you can post or probably publish, even probably comment in your group chat, can be, of course, have the print screen or the screenshot for that matter. So that the next is, of course, the use of social media. Of course, all of you are aware and, of course, using this one. So social media, of course, serves different purposes depending on the user. Okay, so the technology and, of course, the need. So for example, learners should realize that Twitter can be useful for staying current on the latest news in the field. Okay, and of course, we have word processing software. This is the basic, no? Okay, among, of course, the 8. So, of course, we can use Google or Microsoft Online, Dropbox, which are available for storage and management solutions. So these are, of course, word processing. Okay, again, we have, of course, cloud software, the coding, collaboration, information evaluation. We have also cloud software, coding, and collaboration together with information evaluation. And we have also, of course, Other literacies that promote, of course, computer literacies according to Alata, EJ, and Ignacio in 2019. So these are, of course, the tool literacy. So it talks about the competence in using hardware and software tools. We have also social structural literacy. This is understanding the production and social significance of information. We have the resource literacy, which is the understanding forms of and access to information resources. So the key concept here in the resource literacy is that what are your resources in finding data? So resources. And then we have, of course, the research literacy, which is using IT or ICT tools for research and scholarships. Okay, we have also publishing literacy. This is the ability to communicate and publish information. Mind you, all of us, of course, all of you are having, of course, publishing literacy. Okay, where you can publish probably in the social media. Okay, and anything that probably you can have through publications in the use of technology and of course apps. And then we have critical literacy. It's the ability to evaluate the benefits of new technologies. Emerging technologies literacy. This is the understanding of new developments in IT. Okay, these are all, of course, the other literacies that promote computer literacy according to Alata, EJ, and Ignacio. Okay, let's have, of course, the types and examples of digital literacy that improve lives. We have, of course, the digital literacy in the home, and it involves, of course, computer skills, communications, social media, the internet navigation, the making use of personal devices and apps, determining the validity of a source, and protecting your privacy. If we have, of course, digital literacy in the home, we have, of course, digital literacy in school. And this involves, of course, online learning, learning how to utilize personal devices appropriately, note-taking, and organization, the online courses that we have, and of course, teaching skills to others. We have, of course, 9 elements of digital citizen. So the first is, of course, digital access. So it talks about the full electronic participation in society. And of course, which includes helping to make sure everyone has equal access to technology. But this, of course, digital access have a big question because when we say, of course, everyone has equal access to technology, this thing is not, of course, true to all. Other than that, of course, not anyone could have the internet connection. So there is no, of course, guarantee to, of course, equal digital access to all. Then the second one is digital communication. It is how to make appropriate decisions when faced with so many different digital communication options, such as when and of course how to send an email versus of course a text message, or casual social media. So what is good is that at this date, we have a lot of course, ways on how to communicate digitally. Then we have, of course, number 3 is digital commerce. So it talks about how to be effective consumers in a new digital economy and be able to make smart, well-informed decisions relating to buying and downloading materials online, such as buying clothes electronically. So of course, you can have now different probably ways on how to buy goods and services online. Okay, and number 4 is digital etiquette. So it's more than just being, of course, able to recognize inappropriate behavior. Take note, good digital citizens should know how to act appropriately online. So it talks about, of course, digital etiquette. The 5th one is that digital literacy. So it includes how to use various technologies and internet applications and how to use the technology effectively, such as creating and evaluating information. The 6th is digital rights and responsibilities. So digital citizens should consider that there is essentially a virtual bill of rights protecting everyone online. Thus, issues such as privacy, free speech, and so on apply to every digital user. So examples are, of course, privacy and, of course, the free speech, that is digital rights and responsibilities. Number 7 is digital law. Okay, it talks about how to use technology in an ethical manner. So using it properly by not invading in other people's information and accounts. Okay, for example, sending spam. So it talks about digital law. Okay, then we have, of course, number 8 is digital security. So talks about good digital citizens should employ electronic precautions to guarantee safety. Okay, of course, our primary concern here is the safety. Okay, online. So no being should be worried about his or her privacy. Okay, examples are backing up data and antivirus protection. Okay, and lastly, of course, we have digital health and awareness. So it talks about how to guard against inherent dangers of technology and practice safety and sound in ergonomics, while of course avoiding repetitive stress syndrome, okay, and psychological issues. For example, okay, the most common internet addiction. Probably some students forget to take their, of course, food or meal like the breakfast, even lunch or dinner, or some probably forgot, okay, or forget to study their lessons because they are, of course, more having time, of course, with the internet and of course with the computer. So again, these are, of course, the 9 elements of digital citizenship. Number 1 is digital access. The second is digital communication. The third is digital commerce. The fourth is digital etiquette. Okay, we have, of course, digital literacy, digital rights and responsibilities, digital law. Okay, we have also digital security and of course digital health and awareness. Okay, so we have, of course, 5 benefits of digital literacy. So the first is digital literacy boosts student engagement. This is very true. Supposing, no? Okay, students, of course, so will have a very good engagement if the students have great, of course, digital literacy. Then digital literacy improves academic performance. Okay, of course, if not all, many of you would, of course, agree with me that it improves academic performance. So you can, of course, use technology or apps, no? Okay, in, of course, acquiring information, even in studying your lessons well. Then the third is, of course, digital literacy helps students stand out from their competition in the job market. Take note, when you're going to look for a job, they're looking for somebody, okay, he is computer, not just computer, but digitally literate. Okay, then number 4 is digital literacy makes your school more competitive. So some more, supposing the more advanced laboratory facilities with your computer, with your connection, and so on. So it makes, of course, your school competitive. And the last is driving digital literacy is easier than you think. So again, these are the 5 benefits of digital literacy. The first is digital literacy boosts student engagement. The second is digital literacy improves academic performance. Third is digital literacy helps students stand out from their competition in the job market. And number 4, digital literacy makes your school more competitive. And lastly, driving digital literacy is easier than you think. Okay, so these, okay, I hope you learned something from our discussions for today. Okay, and for our references, you can see it here in the screen. Okay, supposing you wanted to know and learn more about, of course, our video lecture for today. Okay, thank you so much. Have a nice day. Okay, see you soon. God bless everybody. Thank you.